Hey guys, in today's video I will be doing a tropical update once again on this new disturbance that the National Hurricane Center is monitoring. As you can see, the system now has a 10% chance of formation within the next 2 days and a 60% chance of formation within the next 5 days. So chances are slowly starting to increase now that we've gotten into this weekend, that it's expected to potentially form into a tropical system by this weekend and into early next week. So, of course, now that we're getting into about midweek this week, the chances are continuing now to finally go up on this system. And as of right now, the NHC says that a tropical wave located over the west central Caribbean Sea is expected to move westward over the next couple of days and produce a broad area of low pressure over the western Caribbean Sea by Thursday night or Friday. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for some development thereafter, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend while the system moves slowly west-northwestward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea. So if I show you the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, you can see the area that it has to develop. It will be likely in the general kind of bowl-shaped area of the Western Caribbean between the Central American countries through around the Yucatan and around Cuba and Jamaica. So that general area, and it seems that it will be generally moving towards the Yucatan and then into the Gulf. So it doesn't look like it will be heading more towards the north, towards like in between the Yucatan and Cuba, toward into the Gulf. Kind of like where Marco tracked in between those two areas through that Straits area. So yeah, again, this is where it has the best chance of development, especially as we get towards this weekend and into early next week. So especially again, of course, once we get towards Friday, Saturday, that is going to be starting to be those days where we're really going to have to watch the system very closely and really see what it will potentially do. Now let's go to the Travel Tidbits website, and I'll show you what the GFS model is forecasting as of right now, quote unquote forecasting as of right now for the system, what the European is quote unquote kind of forecasting for the system right now, and what the CMC is also quote unquote forecasting as of right now for this system. So we're starting off with the GFS model, and as we move forward through the rest of today and into tomorrow, you can see there's that big area of precipitation that is associated with that low pressure area that is being monitored by the NHC. You can see as we get closer towards Saturday, getting into Saturday and Sunday, it starts to get closer towards the northern tip and part of the Yucatan, and then start to kind of just meander a bit right along the Yucatan coast, and then head down into Mexico after that point. And then, of course, the GFS is also showing potentially another tropical system behind this current disturbance that the NHC is monitoring. So I guess we should potentially start to look at this system as well. Especially really, I'll start really making videos on that other system as we get towards the end of this week and into early next week. We're not going to focus on that system as of right now, though the models do seem to be showing the system now pretty consistently, that second system behind this current disturbance that the NHC is monitoring. So that's what the GFS is showing. Now let's look at what the European model is showing. This is for the vorticity. The 12Z run is just coming in, but it should be, it has come out far enough to where I can show you the system. So as you can see, as we move forward, there's that general vorticity that is being shown associated with that disturbance. And then as we get closer to around early on the morning on Saturday, that system will be much closer towards the Yucatan, the tip of the Yucatan, and then kind of crossing the Yucatan into the Gulf. And the European starts to show some better vorticity, some deeper bits of vorticity with this system, but it's not really showing anything overly potentially strong or anything. So the system does look to be likely pretty weak, it seems, in the end, if it even does potentially try and become a tropical system. Though as of right now, I'm not going to say whether or not it will get to tropical depression, storm, or hurricane status. I mean, it has the potential to get to hurricane status if it's is able to, but it really just depends on just the environment it's forming in, and just the conditions it's going to be interacting with. And it doesn't seem like the models are hinting all that much on the fact that the environment will be all that conducive for the system to develop that far. But again, I'm not going to say anything yet about how strong the system could potentially be. But anyway, as of right now, that was what the European model was showing as currently as of right now on that system. Now I'm showing you the CMC model and what the CMC model as of right now thinks will happen with this system. So now as we go forward in time with this model, you can see there's that big area of precipitation with the system. It starts to head closer towards the Yucatan and goes again towards that northern tip of the Yucatan, but doesn't really do much of anything. And then of course it shows that other second system behind this current system. So it doesn't, all three of the main models don't really show that this first system becoming that potentially strong of a system. Though of course we can't really forecast exactly how strong the system will likely be. We just we're only able to really have our best guesses according to using these models and just the potential atmospheric conditions the system will be moving into. So, of course, there is always that chance that the system will become way stronger than we think, but as of right now, I'm not going to say much at all farther than that on that part of that subject. But again, that is what the GFS, European, and CMC model are forecasting, quote unquote, forecasting as of right now, showing for that system. And again, overall, it seems like the system will probably be a pretty weak system. So again, now I want to show you, in fact, just a little bit of kind of an update on the MJO and what the MJO phases we're heading into right now, and what's going on with that stuff. And as well as I'll show you the ENSO, kind of what the ENSO is doing. Since we're now officially in a La Nina, I'll show you what that is looking like. Again, so here's what the MJO is being shown as right now according to the CFS model. You can see we'll be in a rising air. As of right now, we're in more of a, by the way, as of right now, between September 30th, which is today, through October 7th. So by next Wednesday, I assume, it's a week's time. So yeah, by next Wednesday, in this time frame, this first week looks like we'll be in general kind of a neutral, bit of an MJO phase in the Atlantic. Some bits of rising motion of the MJO, some bits of sinking in the MJO phase for the Atlantics. But then as we get, especially by the time we get to next Wednesday and during that second week of October, the Atlantic is fully taken over by a rising phase of the MJO, which is the conducive part of the MJO for travel development in the Atlantic. So it looks like getting towards next week, especially getting towards the middle, towards the end, and into the following week, it looks like the travel activity could potentially have that time frame to surge a bit and get a bit more tropical activity potential from there. But then as we get towards the middle of October, getting into the end of October, it looks like we'll be heading back into a sinking phase of the MJO, which is not conducive or as conducive for travel development in the Atlantic than what the rising air phase would be for the MJO in the Atlantic. But again, I mean, we've seen all year that even when the Atlantic is in a sinking phase of the MJO, travel activity still forms, and we still see a good bit of travel activity even with that sinking phase happening. But I do think with the time frame now that looks like we will go back into the sinking phase going into the second half of October. It doesn't look like the tropics will become as active and will start to finally die off as we get closer towards that official end of the hurricane season, which is November 30th. So that is what the MJO phase is looking like currently. Now, this is what the ENSO is looking like right now. Here is that La Nina. You can see very cold Central Pacific Ocean region with those blue shade colors showing the below average sea surface temperatures that indicates our La Nina. And of course, it's clear the most intense as you get towards the eastern part of that Enzo region, closer towards the South America coast. But still, all throughout, it is consistently cooler than average. So we are officially in a La Nina. Now, this is what the 3.4 region is looking like currently. It's at negative 0.841 degrees Celsius, so that is well within La Nina territory. A La Nina is if the sea surface temperature is around negative 0.5 degrees Celsius or below, so we are below that, and so we are in a La Nina. And then the Nino 3 region is at negative 1.079 degrees Celsius, so that is also well within La Nina territory. The Nino 4 region is also in La Nina territory, but just barely. It's at negative 0.517 degrees Celsius. But looks like it's kind of staying neutral as of right now, but still generally on the downsloping trend, it does seem. And then, of course, finally, the Nino 1+2 region is also well within La Nina territory at negative 1.654 degrees Celsius. So again, we are definitely in La Nina. Here's what the sea surface temperatures are looking like currently in the Atlantic. You can see, of course, definitely the Caribbean, the subtropics, and even the majority of the Gulf is definitely the warmest part of the Atlantic Basin, and definitely the one part of the Atlantic Basin that really is conducive the most for tropical development. But then, of course, along the East Coast, especially if a system, let's say, does form north of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, and it starts to head towards Florida and maybe up the East Coast, it would still be able to try and intensify a bit before, of course, it gets past the Gulf Stream into cooler waters as it gets closer towards that northeast New England coastline. But again, in general, the Atlantic is still quite warm and is still able to favor some tropical development still as we go into October. So that is we're still going to have to really watch the tropics as we get into October in the end. So again, the Caribbean, as you can see, has sea surface temperatures up to even 31 degrees Celsius. So that is very, very warm and definitely very conducive sea surface temperatures for tropical development. That is in Fahrenheit. That is in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is well more than the amount of sea surface temperatures fuel for tropical systems. But then, of course, you can see the Gulf also 28, 29 degrees Celsius. It's a bit cooler, more towards 26, 27, 28 degrees Celsius along the coast there, but still it's in general warm enough to be conducive enough for tropical development. And finally, let's go to the 2020 Atlantic Hurricane Season Wikipedia page. I just wanted to show this just because I just wanted to show you that we are now in the Greek alphabet, and so the next name on the list is Gamma, the third name on the Greek alphabet list. So again, we are in a very well above average season, very record-breaking season. And we will likely continue to see that as we head towards the end of the season. And even if the season ends right now, we would still end up with a very above average record-breaking season. Because of the fact, again, that we have had a total of 23 named storms, 24 total depressions, 8 hurricanes total, 2 major hurricanes total this season. So still, even with the around average major hurricanes and slightly above average hurricanes, we're still going to be a very above average, well above average, even potentially you could say hyperactive hurricane season if the hurricane season were to end like right now. But no, we still have exactly another 2 months left of this hurricane season. So we are really just we're still well within the hurricane season and still need to be fully prepared for what else is potentially to come. As we go through the rest of October, go through October and through November before the hurricane season officially ends on November 30th. But again, that's it for today's video, guys. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this update on the tropics and what currently we're watching in the tropics. If you did enjoy this video, please consider liking the video, commenting on the video. If you're a first-time viewer and you liked what you saw in today's video, I do tons of this content. I do tons of tropical content, related content on my channel, so please consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.